welcome into another episode of Rise Urban Nation. It's your host, Taryell Simmons, in the building, and I got a special guest in the building, Ashley. Uh, I've been hearing so much thing about this book service that she's going to talk about. My friend Rachel says, I got to connect you to. And I was like, all right. I thought it was Read Her, but it's Read, that I say it's supposed to be Read Her, right?
Yes.
All right, so now that we got that corrected, we're going to talk about all about this amazing thing she's created, a little bit about her journey, her passion, all that good stuff. Let's start off like this, because for the people who may not have been introduced to Miss Barton, Miss Ashley Barton, who is Ashley? And I know that's a deep question, and you could take that as far as wide as you want to go, but who is Ashley Barton?
Yeah. I always say my day job is as an educator. So I work in education. Prior to my current role, I was a director of a Black Student Center for 8.5 years. So it's been my thing. I went to UCLA for undergrad and my master's, and then I went to SC for my doctorate. And my was focused on Black student success because I was just really looking to do work that was from an anti-deficit perspective. Like, we always look at the negative. We never ask the successful Black college kids, what made you succeed, so we can replicate those things with other Black kids, which is only like, you replicate the good, then there's more good, kind of a thing. So after I got my doctorate, I went off and I was a director of that student center. And now I'm an associate dean for diversity and inclusion. And my whole passion is really about, supporting like Black excellence for sure. Success, just overall helping people find their passion and stuff like that. So that's like my day job, which is like the thing that, like, my own college experience got me to this passion of supporting other people to have joyful, positive college experiences. So then here started, like a lot of people's businesses in the last couple of years, a pandemic business, a COVID business. House.
This your pandemic, baby?
Basically, we're at the house. And, you've got some time to, like, look left, look right, look around, and just think, and I think a lot of us just started to, like, think and really reflect on, like, what are we doing? What's going on? That sort of thing. So for me, I had gotten this one box. It was called Book of the Month. And I was just, like, kind of underwhelmed with the options. And so, like, anyone who knows me knows that I'm very, like, tenacious. Like, I'm going to go get it. And so just seeing something where I didn't feel like we were seen or, like, a part of the conversation made me, oh no, like, I should do something like this. So yeah, that speaks a little bit about, like, the concept of, like, who am I? I'm an educator. I'm, someone's daughter. I'm someone's cousin, mentor. But I'm also very much like a tenacious person who's like, we need forward progress. We need representation in all spaces. So
I love it. Tenacious. So tenacity is one of your thing. I love what you just started, by the way. It's hard to believe that there hasn't been something like this already that's been done. Like, I feel like if anything, there should have been, like, with all these amazing Black writers out there, there should have been some type of book service for us.
There's a couple. So there's, like, this two worlds. There's the independently published, and then there's, like, the big, massive, like, publishing house published. And there is, I would consider there's more gates or, like, gatekeepers in the big old companies versus the independently published, where a lot of Black authors, particularly Black women, have a lot more freedom to write what they want to write. Go through, folks who aren't Black to convince them about the power of their pen to publish. So that's.
So I never really, I mean, I knew there was those two worlds, but like, is there a different culture between the writers that come out of the space where they have those big publishing deals versus the writers who don't? And then is there a difference also in the reader that is able to grab their materials and the people who engage with it? Like, is there two different worlds in those as well?
I would say yes. I mean, there is this I want to say that there's different types of reader, right? There's so many genres and subgenres of books. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, and this is me as a part of probably a member of the bougie club, but there's a lot of bougie black readers. If James Baldwin or Maya Angelou or Toni Morrison didn't write it, it ain't real literature, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's such an erroneous way of looking at black storytelling.
Mm.
I'm very much a big proponent of all stories need to be told, the struggles and the joy. And I like
Mm-hmm.
it's a privilege to read the works of people who have been able to document our struggles and our ability to overcome and prosper. At the same time, it is also just as important to see us in moments of joy and happiness and love um, in the same
Mm-hmm.
vein. And so for me, I think that there is that bougie group of like romance is not a real romance is just for play, and
Yeah.
it's a whatever. Them stories is just all right. Whereas like if you're not one of these big name writers, oh, that's the real. And I'm like no, it's not, because it's in actuality the independent authors have so much more freedom to just say what they want to say and write the
Right.
feel are true to them, versus sometimes the mainstream authors a lot of times have a lot of people to prove their work to. So if I upload
Yeah.
and click publish and that's it, ain't no gates, imagine what I would say, you know.
Yeah.
So it's too
I
it's
love that.
I
You
feel
know.
like a bit of a bougie world, like I guess.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I was just thinking about a time when I saw Dr. Cornelius West talk about like the importance of black love and just break it down. Black love, how black love is in the center of like of everything that we've been able to do to overcome and achieve and build and forgive in a society that was never really built or meant for us, but we continue to um find the space in it, and black love helps us kind of do that. And I wonder if some of those stories are in are great foundational pieces in the literature that you kind of have embraced and really uplift and highlight. Like, I don't know, what's your feeling?
It's one of the it's an incredible feeling to read a story that feels like you connect so well. Like
Hmm.
you can visualize these people, these highly melanated individuals who are overcoming whatever thing is in life to find love and find connection and find friendship, find joy. Like every time I read these books, even the sad ones, it's just like the sentiment of like being able to overcome whatever challenges no matter what, and to find love,
Hmm.
find happiness. I'm like, dang, this is just like blown me away. And I think that even though the community is not as large as it probably is in comparison to the authors in the popular bookstores folks go to, it's like it's only, I feel, underseen because enough people don't know about it. That literally is
Mm.
like, we are like, people always think, oh, look at the black community. And I'm like, we are 13% of the US population. We're
Hmm.
located in the southern regions of the country. And so sometimes we just don't know about certain stuff. Like we're spread out a bit, we're primarily in the South, but there's a whole bunch of us in California who don't know what's going on over there. We don't know what's going on the East Coast. We like Midwest. I'm like, I don't know what y'all be doing out there. So I
Yeah.
think that
And to that point, to expand upon it, we're all over the diaspora. So we got like melanated brothers over in Africa, Colombia, like Canada, places I didn't even know. We had a big, large group of black people because I get to meet them through the podcast. So I was like, wait, we got black people over there, and like, because I had a one time I had a couple people from Japan reach out. I was like, man, we got a whole bunch of black people in Japan. Like, what?
really Believe it.
And so, like, it's just interesting, like, how we are all over the globe, and I'm, like, curious about how do we get there, and partially how we probably got there is through some type of love story, right? Like
Said I'm staying out here of my life. Go home, you know?
I hear you. I hear you. So, were you tell me about the journey of just starting this? Like when you was in the pandemic, looking to the left, looking to the right. Did it start as like just something for fun, or did you immediately say, you know what, I could turn this into maybe a business, like, and let me see how we could get this going? Like, give me the how did this transition happen?
It is definitely it is a business for sure because there's too many for it to be a hobby. This and even though we're not like $1 million business, it's still like there has to be that level of commitment for to see it be successful. Because hobbies you can go,
Yeah.
but when it's like a business, you have to go all in. Feet.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where like there is another box. I will definitely, share it. There is another box. It's called Blacklit. And the difference box in
Okay.
my box is that box does do a lot of the books that you would find in a bookstore, So you could
Mm.
probably find Will's book in there. What's some other books? You go to the bookstore, you can probably find those books there, right?
Yeah.
Between the books, my books, is that it's always going to be Black romance. So Black romance is defined as two or more Black characters are the protagonists of the story. So sometimes people get, well,
Gotcha.
he's white. That's not Black romance because he's not Black. So it has to be all the
Yeah.
people are Black in the story. And a lot of the authors that I feature are generally only available either through their own websites or Amazon. So
Man.
so that kind of like I was feeling like when I saw that book of the month, which is another subscription box, but that one's like a huge one. It's like probably 80 years old. It's been out there forever. But the books that they just
Mhm.
didn't feel like Black enough. They weren't Black. They weren't Black. They maybe were
Yeah.
Black author every couple of months, but it was just not Black enough for me. And I was just,
Yeah.
why don't I do this? Like, I really love Black romance. I know people online that I've met socially, they read Black romance, and we don't have those type of options. Like, we don't have a lot of the time we're reading ebooks, so we don't really get print.
Uh-huh.
I can't go to the bookstore and find one of my favorite authors on the bookshelves because they're not
Yeah.
as, they don't have the big marketing budget as Will Smith,
Hmm.
like that type.
Yeah. Ain't nobody got Will Smith's budget. I'm sorry.
Uh, so, kind of sitting with it, and I, had the idea, the revelation, and I was like, why don't I do it? And I was one of those when like, why don't I do this? And I sat on it. I told my mom the idea. She was like, I don't know, what, And I was like, Mom, I have this idea. I really think I could do it, But I said, but let me sit on it because I get excited by cool stuff, and then I'll be like, never mind, I don't want to do it no more. So I said, let me sit on it. And then it was like, it's time kept going on. And I was like, yeah, I really feel like I want to do this. Like, I really feel like this is something that I could do. It's something that can give back to the women, especially the Black women who read these stories, get their hands on these books. And
Hmm.
yeah, we're, and that's how it kind of came to be of like, let's try it out. Let's see if people even care to sign up. And I remember the second person who signed up for a year. And I was like, what? Like,
Nice.
oh my gosh, she just spent $200 and something on a thing she's never seen in person, has no picture of, has no idea what's going in the box. But this woman did it for a year, you know?
Nice.
So
I love
I'm
that.
like, see, I knew it. I knew people want this, You know, like I knew people wanted it. It's just that no one was trying to do it for us. And we were
Mhm.
very much a FUBU community, for us, by us, because
Man,
If not us, who? You know. So
man, thank you, and we appreciate you doing it for the culture. Um, how did you get into this like love, this love for love books and black love stories? How did that start? Where did that uh, I don't want to call it an obsession, but where did that passion and love begin, and how did you grow it?
So I've always been just an avid reader in general. Like little kid, mom took me to the library because it was much cheaper than buying me the books. Because I would read them in like a day, and then she'd be like, "So you read it?" And I'm like, "Yep, I want another book." And she'd just be like, "Oh, we're going to the library." So I was definitely a library kid who just read all the time. Obviously, like teenage years, and I'm sure you've heard Eric Jerome Dickey, um, Fly Girl, Omar Tyree, Zane, Brenda Jackson, just a slew of classic Black authors who were just writing stories. And a lot of these stories, if you really think about it, any movie, any show, anything you watch, there's always a romance component to it. So if it's like an
Mm.
alien spaceship, it's something about some people getting together. Um, and there's a component, everything has romance in it, like everything. Um, Even if it's like a lightweight romance, there's always some sort of romance component where somebody likes somebody else. And so I remember
Right.
reading like Eric Jerome Dickey books, and he used to have Milk in My Coffee, Sister Sister, just a
Uh-huh.
ton of those type of books, and they were romance. It was
Right.
all romance. I think what happened with Black authors in that era is that we had this like time lull where we Dickey writing books and
Mhm.
Brenda Jackson and Francis Ray, and and then we kind of that was it, and then we didn't have nobody new
Yeah.
to like write other stuff, at least for me, that I was bumping into. So when I ran across like indie Black love, like independently published Black love
Mm.
authors, I where have I
Yeah.
been? Like, who are these women and what are they? I was like, y'all, did y'all see this? It felt like that for me. Um, the stories were
Uh-huh.
like, not only were they Black, but they were relatable. There's some college romance
Mm.
stories. So, you getting all this college experience, these people doing this whole situation and the drama, whatever. There's sports fans, there's even
Uh-huh.
historical, and they're just regular adult people, coffee shop owners, who
Yeah.
meets a girl, comes into his shop, and all of a sudden he looking at her and she looking at him, and it's regular life people. So I think the relatability of
Yeah.
it, the realness of it, and just the representation part. Because if you think about it, how many Black TV shows are there on TV right now? Like that is not Tyler
Mhm.
Perry and not
Hey.
Grownish,
Man.
Blackish is gone. Um, and
Uh-huh.
then
That I can't even think of any. And dude, there was an era when
Pop,
we were like dominate the TV screen, like Different World,
Family,
Cosby Show, and it was like
uh,
good, meaningful
Family
stuff
Matters,
too.
Sister,
Like,
Sister.
yeah, Sister, Sister, all of it. I remember we had an
It
era
was
that we was
popping,
just
and
it was nothing. We was just
that
popping.
era has faded away. So what's left
Hmm.
for young Black people to participate or engage or see our stories in? It's just books. It's and
Hmm.
maybe some movies. Like we got Black, and then we'll
Right.
have some other actors who are making movies, but like a movie's a 2 hour experience. Books are six,
Yeah.
10 hours of time of experiencing a story. You know.
Yeah. You know what I think too? I think if we had more books like this for our youth, they
Oh,
would read
the thing
more.
is, they would 100% read more, and they're out there. But if we're not talking about it, if we're not promoting, encouraging kids
Right.
to read stories that are
Right.
relatable to them, and not cookie cutter stories about sorority girls or high school sweethearts or whatever, why would they read that? Like, that's not interesting to them. It's
Mhm.
not relatable.
Right. Let me
Mhm.
correct my statement. If the education system and educators who work in predominantly Black communities and communities of color, they were introduced to different books that uh and at that age, I think our
Yeah.
youth would read more, if whether it be the educators or the parents. I don't
Mhm.
know who. It
Yeah.
could be a combination of both, but we just have
Yeah.
to introduce them to it
Absolutely.
so they can resonate with
Yeah.
it.
Or like my mom did it. Just take them kids to the library and be like, you can do whatever you want. You
Mhm.
know? Come on. Can I get another one? Like, go. Yeah. Take the kid.
Right. I'm curious to know this question. What should someone read to hear in a good love story that teaches like a great lesson about love and relationships? What's something that you
Mm.
recommend?
So all the books have a lesson, whether it's love yourself, honor yourself, don't take no mess from nobody, um, you know,
Mm,
respect your partner, honor your significant. Like there's always a lesson in it. With your mama, whatever
mhm,
it is, there's always a takeaway in a book. There are a couple of authors who I would say are good starting points. Back in the day, I
mhm.
would have been like, "Oh, Eric Jerome Dickey, go read him." Uh, um,
And no, she's not getting paid to say that. At least I don't think she is.
but so I want to say last year, Eric Jerome Dickey passed away, and he was definitely one of the pioneers of like storytelling and just
Mhm,
keeping it going. But now
mhm,
I would say more recent authors, I would lean towards okay, solid classic contemporary Black romance. I would say Christina C. Jones is definitely one of the people that I would tell.
mm.
Her stuff is just beautiful storytelling. It's not all fluffy and like clouds in the sky. And I gazed into his eyes, and when I saw him, I saw me. No, 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 none of that. It's not like I know people always assume that Black storytelling is hood or ghetto or whatever. And there's urban fiction too. There's tons of space. That's real life as
Right.
well. But I would say for anyone who's like, I'm trying to get into Black stories or Black love, I would say go with Christina C. Jones. She is a like
Okay.
incredible storyteller. You'll be reading her whole catalog, obsessed, being like, I can't wait till the next one. She's one of them. But I have a slew. I have a list of, depending on what the person's personality is, I have recommendations. But I would
Yeah.
say that's like my
Uh, this is a good starting point. Well, you heard it first. Ashley Barton said it here, and so when uh, when this author gets the big break and deals, and everybody talking about it, remember where you heard it first.
many who've said, y'all need to read Christina. But she be putting in major work. Sis is not playing games with nobody. Um, talented.
Man,
Talented.
man, I love everything you've been doing. I'm excited for you to know that you've been able to grow, get somebody on a $200 subscription in this pandemic, building this amazing, beautiful thing. What are you most excited about in the next year?
So I definitely want to grow. I want to continue to grow and expand, get more subscribers because I feel like
Hmm.
my like what I'm doing is contributing to a more accurate and realistic vision of who Black people are. It's stories,
Mm,
it's telling more of who we are as a people because I think one of the things is like sometimes um we have this like people have this weird imagery of who Black people are. And I'm just even Black people might
yeah,
have that, like you know? But
yeah,
I'm like, what I really enjoy about Black romance is that it's for Black people and anybody else can enjoy it,
yeah.
and it's telling stories so beautifully, accurately. And so, what I would want more,
Mm,
particularly more Black women, to read Black romance because it's going to make you feel
Mhm.
good. It's going to your day.
Mm.
Whatever stresses you have, this story is going to take you away for a little bit and just make things a little bit better, even if it's just in that moment. And I think one of the great things about for me is that reading Black romance for me is self care, 100% care. It has given me
Mm.
joy. It makes me happy. It makes me excited. It's fun. It is self care. So my hope is that Reader as a business
Mhm.
can expand to give that sentiment, that feeling to more women. That our merch and
Mhm.
stuff continues to promote how beautiful Black love and Black joy is, and how important it is to read Black romance. And just kind of continue to spreading that passion for love and reading. So that's my hope.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Two things that you mentioned that I think resonates with a lot of people, including myself, over the past 2 years of the pandemic is growth and self care, and so my question is to you, like, um, going off that theme of growth, I always consider myself as always a forever learner. So always reading, always getting knowledge, and forever learner. What's your and some of it I love, learning through books or watching educational videos. What's your favorite way to learn and why?
Mm. I'll be honest. It's been a challenge. Like when you get a doctorate, you don't want to go to school. You don't want to learn nothing no more. You're like, I'm done with learning for the rest of my life. That's it.
She's like, you like, as soon as I got this doctor on my name,
Thank
I'm done. Thank
you.
you. I did my
No
time.
more. Uh, but I want to say, I liked I enjoyed continuing to learning in non-traditional formats. So if there's a thing I have a deficit in that
Mhm.
I don't know how to do, I'll pick up a book, I'll look at YouTube, I'll ask people, I'll be like, hey, I need to learn more about this. Where
Mhm.
did you learn about this? I'm big onto Google. And like I said, I'll buy a book about it. There's a book on everything. It's like how to market your business,
Mhm.
you know, how to do that. I will scourge the internet. But I know that for me, I said the self-learning, self-pacing is the way that I prefer to learn. And I know that the information is out there in a book. They always said like, what's the number one way to hide something from people is put it in a book. Well, I'm gonna find it. So will for sure figure it out. A lot of the stuff with my business that I've been able to learn and stuff is I literally self-taught because I was not a business major. I never had any interest in having my own business. I'm very comfortable in working for somebody else. And
Mhm.
now it's just like I'm not even opposed to that. It's just like the end, you know? Yeah, that's
Mhm.
that's
Man. Lay. It's funny. I just not too long ago ordered a book for marketing the business too because I mean I have some business expertise, but doing marketing and business, learning it from school and then adopting it to a corporation is very different from trying to do it as a like start your own business, and you know I feel like you know is it's two different ball games and sometimes people don't understand. Sometimes entrepreneurship is tough. Like you trying to figure things out
you don't know what
on the fly sometimes. I don't
Yep.
know. Have you had
Oh,
that
absolutely.
experience?
Like there's a lot of you don't know what you don't know. Um, and part of that is
Mhm.
just like you said, if you have some knowledge, you have some experience, you could very well be a formally or unformally educated person and there's still stuff
Mhm.
you don't know. Like I admire
Mhm.
big business people like Jeff Bezos and because he literally had a desk with a sign behind that said Amazon. And sure, through his social and
Mhm.
cultural capital, he was able to blow up and, his privileges and stuff. But you still at some point had to learn it. You can't be completely
Mhm.
like, like you can't just hide everything. You have to
Yeah.
know how to do your stuff. So like entrepreneurship is really
Mhm.
hard. Building a business is very difficult. It requires a tenacity that is just like,
Mhm.
wow. So, yeah.
You know, I remember seeing an early clip of Jeff Bezos when Amazon was just about books, right? And people laughed at him, like literally laughed him
Mhm.
out the building. They ain't laughing
With
now.
time machine, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
got us paid for them to ship it to us. Imagine
Right.
paying him to ship it to us.
Oh man. So yeah, just like you alluded to, like it's that learning curve. That's why you have to have that passion for it. And I think those people who are successful, they have a passion for it. They can get through those rough times because it there's no plan B. This is the thing I love and I want to do and I want to create it and I'm gonna make sure that there's a space for people to have it, right? Um, in that same vein, you know, you're sometimes called or you're stuck to make some tough decision. What grounds you when you have to make a tough decision?
Mm, I honestly, I used to work from a place of like highly considerate of others. And got to the point where I realized that
Hmm.
people were always putting themselves first. And I had to kind of like
Mm,
undo a little bit of that very deep empathetic energy that I come with. I'm like, oh no, oh no. And I had to
mhm.
be like, wait, Ashley, they you girl, you better think for about yourself. You know what I mean? And not in a way where you step on anyone, but a way where you're able to still
Yeah.
honor yourself. Respect the work and contribution
Hmm.
that you're making. And I think grounding myself in that mindset of like you always have to honor yourself. Don't ever do anything that disrespects you, your family, how you were raised, who you believe to be. And
Mm,
if you are able to move in that way, you'll be good. Like
hmm.
as long as I'm
I
honoring
love that.
myself, I'm being true to myself, and I'm not stepping on nobody else, then every decision should be okay.
There. You heard it, ladies and gentlemen. Be true to yourself. Just do you. Just do you. Uh, I love that. Um, I want you to think about one thing that you want to accomplish, and now that you got that thought in your head, what obstacles do you need to overcome in order to do it?
Obstacles. So one thing about running a business and working full time is
Hmm.
that you have to find that energy to do it when you have no energy. Like you have to be able to
Mm,
find that the juice when you running on E. Um, so now that it's that the one goal is like, okay, what do you have to do to get to that? Is it possible? It's absolutely possible. What do you have to take the time
uh-huh.
every single day to work at it? To work at it.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be a huge 5 hours or whatever. It can just be like increments,
Hmm.
small increments. But I'm tired. I'm tired. I
Yeah.
get home. I just want to lay down and just rest my body and rest my mind. So I think that has stopped me of like, Ashley, if you don't do it, no one else is gonna do it. There's there's no
Right.
movement without you. Um, think that has
Right.
been the thing. So I'm addressing it now. Like I got a virtual assistant and she's helping me be on top of my stuff and be organized. And every day there's a task that I need to do to accomplish to get closer to my stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I'm being intentional. It's like, all right, what do you need to get to that? Like do it.
Hmm.
But it's still, like I said, nothing will get done if I don't do it. No.
Yeah. So true. You are the visionary, so you have to
Yeah.
put the pieces in play. And I felt like when you were speaking that there was somebody that inspired you in your life that got you to this point. Who would you say in your life has contributed to the
For
person that you
sure
are
my
today?
mom. Because she definitely like when I have moments of self-doubt, she's like, why couldn't you do it? She's very much like she's not one of those
Mhm.
blindly encourage her child type of person. She'll be like, no.
Yeah. She's like, actually, I'm
You
gonna need you to get it together.
got it. No, that's not the move, And so I appreciate that because then I know I'm getting it. I'm getting it for real. I don't need blind adoration, mother.
Yeah.
I need
Mhm.
support. you know? Um, and I think that she has been a constant source of encouragement. Even packing, helping me pack my boxes. She's the person I call. You think about this? What do you think
Aw.
about that? So she's definitely my go-to person, helping me grow and affirming what the directions of the thoughts I have, things I have to buy, the investments. I'd be like, it's three.
Right.
She'd be like,
Right. There you go.
is it a business? It is. Well then, I'm like, all right, you know.
Right. Man, you have a lot going on. I'm just want to know, like, how do you do it all? Like, what do you do to kind of manage your energy, your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual energy? Like, how
I'm
do you do it?
seeking. I'm trying to balance. I'm not there yet, but I'm because I
Uh,
definitely need to eat better. I definitely need to work out. I definitely need to sleep more. But it's really like I when I go to work, I dedicate my 8 hours to my job because I'm like I
mhm,
want to do a good job. So I'm letting that be the thing.
mhm,
Like work is work. But as soon as I'm off, I'm like I'm doing my
mhm.
5 to 9, as as we call it, 9, and my part to do it could be building my desk for my office. It could be reaching out to an
Yeah.
author and saying, hey, I'm interested in having your book in my box. Would you be down? It's posting on social media, it's making a
Mhm,
reel, it's emailing my email list, my newsletter list, whatever it is. um, Something has to happen. So
mhm.
sometimes it doesn't. It's not perfect. Sometimes I'm literally, even right now, probably after this, I'm going to eat
Yeah.
and probably take a nap. But
Sometimes that's needed to be
sometimes you just
grounded.
need to take
Sometimes
a
that's
little bit of a
needed.
break, and it's okay. Break. You are your own boss,
Uh,
so give yourself a break, give
yeah.
yourself grace, and try that. I do need to, like I
Mhm,
said, I need to get back to working out. I need to sleep on time. I need to eat better. I need
mhm.
to market and promote my business more.
Man, and I think all those things are important, and in this culture where before the pandemic, where we was all about busy, busy, hustle, hustle, hustle. Like, I think people realize, like, oh, that's not a real way to be grounded, and I think that has helped us come to this realization. And then it sounds like you have some good pieces around you too, like whether it be your mom, or you getting that virtual assistant to kind of help keep that grounding going. If someone doesn't know what or who grounds them, what would you tell them?
If they don't know what or who grounds them, I think it's okay not to have the answers. Like sometimes we have this pressure to
Mm,
just like know it all. It's okay if you don't. If you have no plan for
mhm.
next year, okay. Guess what? You're gonna get there, and when you get, pause, look around, and see
Yeah.
what's the next move. And if you don't have a next move, that's cool. That's fine. I think like go
Yeah.
pressure in our society where like if we're not being productive, like a lot of people felt judged by not having a business idea during
Mm,
COVID. They were like, "You at your house, come up with nothing," and I'm
yeah.
like, "We were surviving a global pandemic." That so
Mm,
if you don't have
yeah.
anything specific or a person or a thing that grounds you, that's fine. If you're living, you're thriving, and you're good, cool too. Everybody can't be a
Mhm.
CEO or a mogul. Everybody ain't Diddy, you know.
Yeah. And don't know everybody need to be a CEO or a
Exactly.
mogul, and you just find a thing that works for you, and do,
And your
like we
passion
said before, do
and
you,
go
right?
with it. Or if you find it, that's fine.
Like,
That's fine. That's fine.
yeah. And I tell people, just start where you're
Mhm.
at and just take it one step at a time. Speaking of starting where you're at, like, one thing that I usually like to ask people, because sometimes you're going to inspire some young person that's going to listen to this and they're trying to find their path, or maybe somebody who's like stuck in that middle dead end job or they're trying to transition. I know one thing I used to talk to young people who are coming straight into no, graduating straight from college, and they think they're supposed to get that good job right out the bat. And I'm like, no, you gotta start somewhere, young person. Like it don't always happen like that. There's been some lucky ones, and I like to ask people this question: what was your first job? And I'm talking about your first W-2 job, just to show like the progressions of like, hey, look, here's everybody has a humble beginning story of this first job that they had, and I'm sure there's something you learned or learned from that job or learned about yourself which helped you do the transition later on into your career. So
So
what was your
my
first job?
first job was I was a social worker assistant, and basically my job was to recruit foster parents to foster kids in the foster care system.
Oh wow, you had a good first
I
job.
and one of my jobs in college, I made $12 an hour. I just was working.
Nice. All right,
Look, I was so
I ain't mad at
making. I
you.
was like, oh, in college, I was living it up when I was making 12, and then graduate, get a degree, and it's like 12, and I was like, dang. But I'm working 40 hours, so I'm making more money, but I'm working more. Uh, so that
Right.
job, I mean, it let me know that I did not want to be a social worker because I thought I did. I think I want to be a social worker. Kids, man, no, I
Hmm.
don't. I did not want to be. That I do not want to support kids of this capacity. I want to differently. And I actually do not really want to engage with parents too much. 12. And I was like, in
Mm.
college, FERPA and HIPAA laws don't allow me to tell parents anything. So it's perfect. But yeah,
Hmm.
humble beginnings.
Yeah,
My lunch
there
was
you
like a
go.
30-minute lunch. And like I said, $12 an hour. And taxes were wild because I was, single, no kids. And that's a real thing. That man
Yeah,
hook my check.
it
He's
is a
still,
real thing.
but I'm like, is what do I have left?
Uh,
Yep.
Now, what would you say were the steps that you kind of took to get to where you are in your career, life, and in business? What if you had
I
to
think
think
what's
about
made
it?
me one of those a little bit different is I always had a plan. Like I was doing that $12 an hour job, being a social worker
Mhm.
assistant, and all this other stuff. But the plan was never to stay there. Never, ever, ever to stay there. So my plan was always like, okay, I'm gonna go get my master's degree, and then eventually I'm gonna get my doctorate. So wherever I was working, whatever I was doing, it was fueling that plan. And so it made it sometimes like even when I was doing a job and maybe I didn't like it too much, it was like this is temporary. Like this is literally because I'm actively working
Mhm.
towards getting that next degree. And for a lot of people, I think like if you're like me, where you are not athletic enough to do anything professionally, if you cannot sing nor dance or act at a high performance level, you have to find another hustle. And for me, my hustle, I was always a smart kid.
Mhm.
I could go to school, and I could learn and I could apply and, do those things. So sometimes I feel like you need to find what your own hustle is going to be in life. What is going to be the thing that's going to propel into the type of
Mm.
lifestyle you want to have or do the things you want to do. Because if you don't want to work as a social worker assistant, well, then what do you want to be? The social worker? Do you want to be the director? What's it going to take to get to that?
Mhm.
And so doing that to get to that has been the ways that I've kind of navigated life. Um, and that's always helped me stay optimistic and positive about what I'm doing because I'm like, it's okay. I'm here. I hate this job. It's fine because I'm not gonna be here forever. Um, this is a step to the next
Yeah.
step. So being forward
Mhm.
thinking has always
Yeah.
has I think has propelled me forward.
Yeah, I love that. Being forward thinking. Um, what was some advice you would give to somebody who, like you, they have this thing that they're passionate about that they don't see exist, and maybe they get the idea like, oh, you know what? I could start a box subscription service of my favorite thing, uh,
Mm-hmm.
like Ashley has done, and create a community around that. What some
Yeah.
advice would you give to somebody who wants to start a career or business um,
I
in
would
in
say
the
number
industry
one
that you're
step
in?
is you need to build a community before you sell anything. Before you sell, we are not
Mm,
Target, Walmart, Macy's, none of that. As small business owners, we are literally the face of our
mhm,
business. And so that means that people have
mhm,
to trust you, have to believe you, have to want to support you, encourage you. They
mm,
have to have faith in your dream to buy. And so if you do not have a community
mm,
that is cheering for you, encouraging you, supporting you, your business cannot flourish because eventually you'll get to the space where you are no longer the face of your business and your business can run on the backs of its product, right? But when you're starting off, you are your business
mhm.
and you need a community that roots for you to build you up. Because if not, why would I buy a shirt from some dude I don't know who's making sure
Mm,
do that. But if I know
mhm,
it's Jeff who is looking to spread positivity in STEM for kids and he's doing these shirts that are saying STEM is for me too or whatever, I'm investing in Jeff's dream. I'm not just buying a t-shirt, you know? So, but if Jeff just sent a t-shirt out of the
mhm.
trunk of his car, I ain't gonna buy no t-shirt trunk of your car, Jeff. I don't know you. So I always say you have to build a community that roots for you. These are people who are not your relatives. They're not your cousin, your auntie. These are people who are in a part of the spaces or places that you are in, who will be your customers and who will cheer for you and will buy your mess just to support you.
Mm, love that. I love that. What do you think the future has in store for your
I
industry?
think that folks are catching on to Black romance. They're catching on to Black boxes, or to book boxes specifically. And eventually, my fear is that someone with more money, more power is going to come in and swoop me, beat me
Swoop.
for uh,
Uh, Jeff Bezos, if you were listening, we would like a swoop. Swoop. There it
but
is.
that's my fear. Is like I'm gonna have a Jeff Bezos come in and be like, Black romance. That's a great idea, and just swoop me, and I'll be like, dang, no, want it, yeah.
but but this is my little thing. Oh, please
So
let it
that's
go.
my thing, where I'm like, okay, um,
Maybe he'll say, "We're gonna swoop you.
nah.
I'm gonna still let you run it, but it's gonna be
They're
under
gonna be
our umbrella."
like, I'm gonna get it from Jeff because Jeff got free this and free that. What? So that's one of
Oh
my
man.
apprehensions is that like people are gonna come and swoop me. So I feel like I
Yeah.
have to be the premier of my business so that when anybody else comes through, it feels like a replication of what I've been doing versus a superior version of it. I want
Right.
people to be like, oh, I don't want that one. It look like it's just and hers is better. Like I want
Right.
that.
Uh-huh. Often imitated, but never duplicated. And they say imitation is the highest form of flattery, like when
No,
you know you got something
that.
good. So, hey.
I don't want it. Don't copy me. No, copy me. No.
Oh man, I love this interview. Although I don't want it to stop, I like to keep my interviews what we call like a drive time, whatever that used to be. So let's end it off like this. What projects are you currently working on,
So,
and where can people find you?
ideally in September, I'm gonna launch like a merch line. I've already launched like a soft line for spring. So we did like t-shirts, sweat. drinkware,
Okay.
stuff like that. So my goals for September to do more like of a fall line, so more t-shirts, more sweatshirts, stickers, drinkware, bookish items, like book,
Mhm.
little mini speakers,
Mhm.
like that. So that's what I hope to be able to do. I can primarily on Instagram.
Mm.
So I'm a two folder. So there's Read Her Book Box on Instagram and Ash Reads Books on
Okay.
Instagram. And so the Ash Books is my influencer where I'm telling people what to read, what to buy, like buy this book, it's bomb, it's fire. And then Read Her Box is the
Right.
business side of
Mm, gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, I understand that. I'm in the same game. Taryell's is my Instagram handle, and Rise
Mhm.
Urban Nation is the podcast business side of it. So I got you. I'm on the same wave. If we
Want to
understand this
purchase, if they
game,
want to subscribe or buy, just go to Read Her Book Box.
awesome. So y'all make sure y'all go out there and support. If you're driving and you didn't hear any of that, don't worry. I'm gonna get all her information in
Hmm.
in the email. And I'm gonna put it in the show notes. So Ashley, thank you for stopping by and just having a conversation with us, sharing your journey, sharing this amazing product. I can't wait for it to highlight it in our next episode. Any last words of wisdom
Um,
for the people before we
Read
sign
Black
off?
Romance. Buy it. That's it.
All right.
Read Black
Simple as
Romance.
that. Read Black Romance. Period. Mic drop. We love you guys, and we'll catch you on the next
Bye.
episode of Rise Urban Nation.